Hey, this is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, coming to you on August 12th, 2024, with one of my favorite genres of literature, fantasy and science fiction. And this is an issue of a magazine I get. I get 2 science fiction magazines and 2 mystery magazines. And this is fantasy and science fiction. And it is from November, December 2023. I'll be switching a camera to my face in a second. Ugh. Okay, there we go. I have been subscribing to this magazine. In other words, some of which have gone out of business since 1969, when I was in college. They were a lot cheaper back then. This issue is $10.99 and used to be for 45 cents. So they've gone up in price, but this is a double issue. They cut back on the number of issues because, like all print media, they were having problems. So they send out double issues. There's just as many stories, but they only have half the mailing cost. And these are wonderful. You get all kinds of stories in there. Let's see. We got a novella, The Many Different Kinds of Love, 2 novelettes, Portrait of the Dragon as a Young Man, Fools and Their Money, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 short stories. And they're from a variety of authors. Back in the day, it was mainly men who were writing. And here, some names I don't know whether they're male or female, but I'd say it's about 50-50. The poetry section. And there are departments. The editor is a woman. There's books to look for. Charles DeLint, I've met him. I met him at the first World Fantasy Convention in Providence, Rhode Island, in honor of H.P. Lovecraft. And there is another book, a book part. And there's some science, coming attractions, and curiosities. Curiosities are about old movies or books. And I got into science fiction when I was a really little kid, about 8 or 9. And I went to the library, and they had a wonderful child's librarian, Miss Bolsifer. And she put me on to great science fiction for a kid back then, Jules Verne. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Captain Nemo, Mysterious Island, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He wrote a lot of books, and they were accessible to kids. They weren't so... I didn't get into the some of the social stuff about Nemo, what his name meant, till I got older. And then it meant even more to me. And so from there I went to some of the magazines that they had. There was a lot more pulp fiction back then in the 50s, 60s, early 60s. I was in grammar school from 55 to 63, then went to high school. And I just loved it. They're so portable. You talk about not having power. You can carry this on a bus, and I didn't have a car. I didn't have any prospects of getting a car when I went to college. My father wouldn't sign for anything. My mother wouldn't. They wanted me to have insurance, and I didn't have any money for insurance. I was 26 before I got my first car and could pay the insurance because I became a supervisor at a bank. Third shift, I was in charge of the whole operations of the bank at night. And believe it or not, banks are busier at night than they are during the day. And I started getting these, and there were a lot more then. I get science fiction, fantasy and science fiction, and I get one analog. Analog is more science fiction, less fantasy, but I love both. As I mentioned, I'm a big lover of H.P. Lovecraft. I was going today to do a book review on the first MAGA book that I read, and it was an H.P. Lovecraft work. But I'll wait till I get it. The artwork is so absolutely beautiful. That Japanese artist gets it to a T. And this is sparse artwork in here. But it leaves more to the imagination, and that's good. Because you don't have something fixed in your mind by a picture that you saw. And some of these are so great. I don't know how they can narrow it down to one story when they give out the awards. The Hugos, the Nebulas, all those awards. And the artists. Oh, I wish I had that talent. I really, really do. And I just signed up for 3 more years for all the magazines I get. And I like mystery stories. So I get Alfred Hitchcock mystery magazine. Oh, I get Asimov too. I get Asimov science fiction magazine. And I forget what the other mystery magazine is right this minute. So these things have been accumulated, and I have boxes and boxes and boxes of these unread. I'm waiting for the great apocalypse when I can sit down, just like the guy in that episode of Twilight Zone. The poor meek bank employee, they dropped a nuclear bomb and he finally had all the time in the world to read, and he broke his glasses and couldn't read. Well, I won't break my glasses because they're inside my eye. I have a lens in there which allows me to read without glasses. You get to that magic age of 50 and boom, you need them. That's what my doctor said. Joe, I've been seeing you a long time, and you're getting to be around that age. And so that's what I did. But every month I get these books. I like looking at the artwork. I like, they have loads of new books on the market. What I do, because I'm on a limited income being retired, I look at these, and I have access to all the books in Florida from the library consortium called Flynn, Florida Library Interloan Network or something like that. So if there's a book down in Miami that I want, which is, like 300 miles away, or one up in Pensacola, which is even farther away, I can get it. I can get it and keep it for 3 weeks and read it. And they, some of the libraries get rid of the stuff that isn't being read, but some of them keep them. And there are old books out there, really old books. In fact, I'm in the beginning stages of thinking of writing a novelette in the style of H.P. Lovecraft about the abandoned areas of the Gulf of Mexico from, say, Hoosassa, Crystal River, up to Cedar Point. If you've ever taken a ferry or a boat, you can see But there's so many houses there that were just left after a storm. Maybe the people didn't have insurance and they're just there rotting. And you can smell them rotting when you go by, and all that H.P. Lovecraft imagery comes into my mind. So this is a section of my Citrus County porch life that if I can get my act together, I'd like to do this once a week, talk about different science fiction books and different fantasy books that I'm reading. I'm so glad there are so many available on audiobook, ebook, or Kindle. I have, I can use all three. I have 2 new Fire HD8s with, I put terabyte cards in them. So I have plenty of storage. I'll be able to download stuff and use it. And I'm kind of sick of the television. Nothing inspires me anymore with television. I don't know what it is. I think it has to do with the writing. Every time they have a strike, I think some of the better writers get out and go on and do something else, and you get these writers that go for the dirty joke. And believe me, when I was a kid, I loved that stuff. But I want more. I want more as I get older. I want something that's actually funny on its own and doesn't really rely on your bone farts or your pants falling down. Or it's no longer funny for me. So, if you're interested in fantasy or science fiction, or I could start a mystery one, or may, in addition to this, as I learn more and more about how to do this stuff, I feel more confident. When I started out, I didn't know anything, and then I found a computer that I had that I thought was dead, and I brought it back to life, so I'll be able to do some editing. If anybody has any preferences on some video editing, because what I'd like to do is like insert, if I'm talking about something, insert it down in the corner, and so that people can see it. As what I'm doing now is just putting this on my little stand, taking a picture, taking a video of the cover, and then just hitting it so I'm coming at you the other way and you can see me rather than the book. But I'll get there. I started this, who knows, before the beginning of the summer, just before, and I've got more than 100 videos out there, so I'm learning every day. I appreciate comments on how to do things that didn't work and things that do work. I'm curious, maybe some of you know, when I do this with my phone straight up and, portrait rather than landscape, I notice the 2 sides are colorized, and they must be getting it from, I have a yellow shirt on now. So it must do that. I'm not sure, because when I wore my red scrubs from the hospital, the sidebars were red. So if you know, I'd appreciate an answer. You can always hit subscribe, hit like, and we'll see where it goes. I got myself some new glasses because after about 2 o'clock, the sun gets really hot over here, and I have a hard time reading anything. If I take them off, I'm okay. But when the sun's in my eyes, it's very difficult. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think. I appreciate any responses. I know I'm not doing everything right, and if you can set me straight, I'll do it. So have a safe and a good day.